hello, Stormy. I'm so happy to have you on the podcast. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited.
Me too. So before we dive into all the good stuff, could you introduce yourself and just tell everyone, who you are and what your business is?
So my name is Stormy, and by day, I am a court stenographer for about 24 years. And my side hustle and my business is Beauty Binder. So about 3.5 years ago, I was trying to organize my own makeup and could not find a way to organize it where I could actually find it. I had gotten a bag that my mom had given, an Estee Lauder bag, and it was bigger than a normal makeup bag. And I was throwing my makeup in there, and I loved that it held so much, but I had noticed that it just was not organizing my makeup and my products, and products were getting broken, and I wasn't using them because I couldn't find them. And so I decided that I would, when I couldn't find what I was looking for, I would create it. So that's what I did, and it started there. And from there, it's been about a 3.5 year journey, and I have prototyped it 7 times. I prototyped it and trademarked it, patented it, and now I sell on Amazon, Etsy, and on my own website. I have 12 affiliates and that work kind of Instagram for me. And it's been a really cool process. It's been one of the hardest things I've ever done, I would say. But one of the most rewarding and amazing experiences.
I love that so much. Can you also let people know what does the product do exactly?
Okay, so
what the product is exactly. Yeah.
So Beauty Binder lays your makeup out flat so you can see it. So most of the makeup bags on the market, you just throw your makeup in and zip it up and go. Beauty Binder actually lays it out. So it comes with 3 files. I call them beauty files. They're all clear, so you can actually see what's inside. And you can lay your makeup out flat instead of stacking it. So it unstacks your makeup, and you can actually see the products you have. So you can see them, use them, enjoy them. They're safe and protected. It makes it easier to use and find what you're looking for on a busy morning or anytime you want to wear your makeup.
I love that so much. And I also love and appreciate that you had your own problem and then you're like, all right, I'm just going to create my own solution for it. So I'm a huge, I don't know if the word advocate is a good word, but I'm just going to go with it because I can't think of anything else. My brain is still very fried from the event that I was at last week. When you create a solution for a problem that you have, and I'm a huge, what's the word I'm thinking of? I can't think today. Basically, like when you're creating a product, don't create something fluffy, create something that actually solves a problem for someone. When you do that, you're going to have hell of a lot of easier time selling your product than just being like, I just want to create this fluffy thing today. So I love that you did that. I love that you had a proper problem and then you created a solution for it with your product. I would love to dive into the process of having it made because you are amazing and you sent me one of your amazing products last year. I'm like,
yeah, I did.
It was last summer. And I saw it online. I saw, your Instagram stories, but seeing it in person, it's sort of like this work of art and it's extremely impressive. So for anyone here who loves your makeup and hair accessories and all that, you definitely have to check it out. You will love this product. It is you can tell so much love went into creating every single part of it. And I'm so glad that I got to see it in person because, recording here with you today, I'm just excited to hear more about how the hell you did it. Cause it is very impressive. It's very unique. And I love how it's called Beauty Binder because it actually is, it's like a cool school binder. It's in the shape of a binder and you have all the little not envelopes. What am I talking about? Like the
The
pockets with,
little files.
yes, like it's
Yeah.
so, but it's like you can't even imagine. It's like this really pretty version of like a school binder. So it's way prettier than you could ever think.
It is.
Um,
It's kind of like if you remember like the Trapper Keeper,
yes, oh
that
my
kind of
God,
thing.
Trapper Keeper. I had those when I was little.
Yeah, like the
That's
Trapper
so
Keeper,
funny.
but
Mhm.
pretty, but so pretty. And so,
It's so pretty. It's so
and
pretty.
that's what I wanted. That's what I was looking for. I thought a woman who loves what I do, cares what she looks like, what she feels, and I wanted
Mm,
her to have something that I thought was beautiful to put her makeup in. And that was super important to me, was that it looked pretty, so that if she wanted to keep it on her countertop or, wherever she wanted it, it was going to be a beautiful piece on her counter. It just, to me, couldn't be just anything. That was a
yeah,
huge thing for me, was what it would look like. And also, it had to make sense. Like, it had to be wipeable. So it's completely wipeable. If you spill your makeup or anything like that, it's super easy to just wipe it up. I'll get like a Clorox wipe and just wipe everything off. And then I wanted it to be, everything to be laid flat. I wanted it to unstack. Even some of the newer makeup cases that you'll see out, they all
mhm,
stack. So you're not using what's at the bottom of the stack. You're not using it. If you're in a hurry,
right.
you're just using the top of whatever it is. And so that had to be a part of it. It had to unstack things. And the wipeable, it had to make sense to me for me. What was I looking for in the perfect makeup case? If I could find it, which it's so funny because I just thought I would find it there. I never had a question I wouldn't find it. I went to like Macy's, Target, Ulta, Sephora, all of the stores that I thought would sell something like this, and I couldn't find it. And at that time in my life, I was struggling in my marriage, and it just kind of in life a little bit, and just kind of needed some inspiration, I think. And I really think that's probably why I took it on at the time, was just I don't know, there was something in me. I'd never wanted to sell anything. I'd never wanted to create a product, but something
Mhm.
in me just thought, you know what? Why don't I just try? It's not, I can't find it. Let me just, even if I can find it for myself, make it for myself, then we'll just kind of see where it goes. And I literally went down to Rite Aid and bought cardboard and like a poster board, like you'd buy your kid to do a science fair project. And
Mhm.
I sat on my floor in my bedroom with a ruler, scissors, and my makeup, some of my compacts, and measured it out and laid it out, lined it up, drew it with paper or with pen and a ruler, and started to create it out of poster board.
I love
And
that
that's, yeah,
so much. I love it. I want to just backtrack a little bit. I feel like I have so many questions.
yeah.
For my first thing that I want to ask is, I feel like I have a lot of questions. So when you said that when you were first talking about the product and you said, I don't know if you used the word functional, but I believe you used the word functional.
Mhm.
I love that so much because I think oftentimes when people are creating a product in the early stage, they miss a lot of the small details.
Mhm.
And I love that you said that you could wipe the pockets down, or I don't know,
Mhm.
like
Yes.
washable. How did you get, like, what informed those decisions? Did you look at reviews of makeup bags? Or was it just based on your own experience? Because I feel like those are the small details that actually make a
Mhm.
product like super fucking sellable,
Mhm.
because you listen to customers. You go and you do your research and you read reviews of all these other makeup bags where people are complaining the
Mhm.
products don't stack. I can't find the things at the bottom. My products are getting broken.
Mhm.
The bag isn't washable. So when my facial oil spilled everywhere, it ruined my bag. Like, I feel
Right.
like those things that you mentioned of the features, those are really important selling points. So I'm just curious what informed those when you were thinking of this product, like what informed those small decisions?
First, it was what I was looking for completely, was what
Okay.
I was looking for, something that unstacked my makeup. And so that's where it started. And then from there, I thought, okay, if I'm going to create it, then I'm going to create everything I want. Okay, so what else is it? All right, well, most makeup bags, it seems like they're fabric. There's always fabric in them. And it's so terrible. I mean, makeup
Mhm.
spills, lipstick smears all over. It has to be
Mhm.
wipeable, right? Another thing is there's usually like this ugly fabric, like this floral ugly fabric that's a makeup bag. Or they're really boring. There's nothing to them. And
Mhm.
so I just thought, so the first thing I started there was okay, I'm making it for me. So what do I want? Okay, I want it wipeable. I want it unstack my makeup. Another thing was okay, if we're going to use plastic, if we're going to, have things to where they're laid out, can I see them? So what kind of plastic am I going to use, or material? At that time I was trying to figure out what kind of material was I going to use that was going to be clear, that you could see through it. So that was another thing. Then I started to go online and I started to say, what's out here? What's out here?
Mhm.
What do people want? What are they buying? Because ultimately this is changing. This isn't out there, so this is a whole new way of doing it. So that's the thing, is when you have an idea like this that's so different, is you've
Mhm.
got to sell people in a completely different way to organize their makeup that they've never been introduced to before. So you kind of have to ask yourself, well, why do they want to change it up? Why would they want to change it up? they
Yeah.
they've been doing this for so many years. This is what everybody does,
Mhm.
so there was a lot that went into it. That way was, it started out with me and what I was looking for if I was going to create something for myself. And then it went to, okay, what are people, the average buyer, what are they looking for? If they're going to buy a makeup bag, what are they looking
Mhm.
for? And then it was first, prototype and everything. Then it was actually talking to people as it was starting to be created.
Oh, I love it so
Yeah.
much. This is
Yeah.
making me very happy because so many people, so many people that, come into my programs
Mhm.
or anything really. And I'm not trying to make anyone feel bad. It's just
Right.
this is what happens because these are the things that when you're starting your first business in particular, you don't know what you
Mm-mm.
don't know. And everyone, including myself, makes a million mistakes. So,
Mhm.
but I have to say, I have to give you major kudos right now when I'm hearing all this stuff, because my brain is like, oh my gosh, yes, 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 yes. You know, you thought to yourself, okay, I'm going to create a product because there's a problem I'm having, which means probably other people have it too. And then came up with some ideas on what you would like, but then you went and looked online and
Right.
looked at reviews and look, what are people I mean, you didn't actually say this specific thing, but I'm sure this is what you did. Like, what are people complaining about? What are people saying in reviews? Like, reviews on products are gold. So
Yes,
for
they are.
anyone listening, if you
Mhm.
are like, I don't know what my people want. I don't know what my customers are looking for. I don't know what to add to my product. Take
Mhm.
10 fucking minutes, go find a competitor and deep dive on their reviews, on their product
Yep.
pages, on Google, on Yelp, on Facebook, on Instagram. Like, spend some time and do deep dives on reviews. You will find everything that you could ever need to know about everything, what people like, what people don't like, and maybe most importantly, what people are asking for, what they
Right.
want to see in a product. You take that information and you have your market research. And then you said you talked to people and
I
you had
did.
conversations with people. So it's like you hit the jackpot in terms of all the important things you need to do when you're starting a new physical product, especially for you, because you're not just like, I manufactured dog bandanas, and then I also
Mhm.
had a pet subscription box, and I had an e-commerce store where I sold a lot of things. But I wasn't really making a product by hand. I mean,
Mhm.
you're not making it by hand either, but the difference is like I'm selling like a, $10 or $20 dog bandana that is quite easy to make. Your product is like, this is a beast. You have all these different components and features and materials, and you're talking about we're going to talk about patent and trademark because I'm really excited to talk about that. But you had
Mhm.
to do prototypes. Like, this is a real product. This is not like a
Mhm.
flimsy, fluffy, mug or something. No disrespect to my mug people. I love mugs.
So do I.
I use examples of products that are sitting in my office that I can see. And I always have a mug. I have lip balm. I always have like 20 lip balms on my desk. So I find myself using the same random examples for products. But anyway, you did a
Yeah.
fantastic job. I have to just give you kudos because that is the stuff that most people just completely gloss over when they're making a product. And they only think, well, what do I like? Well, I like this beauty products laid out in this way. So if I like it, that means everyone else does too. They don't do market research. They don't look into reviews. They don't do anything. And they make decisions based off of emotion and thoughts that aren't actually based on reality or data. So, but you did. So I'm very proud of you. Very proud
Thank
of you.
you.
But yeah, awesome
I
job.
did. And I started when I first did it, when I first began the whole thing. I can't say I did that, right away. I think I learned as I was going. Okay. So like I got a first prototype in, and then from there I started to ask people. So it wasn't
Okay.
you it's like you take that action
Yes.
and that will bring that clarity that you need. And that will allow you to hear the pain points of the people that are going to be potentially buying your product. So what are they saying about it? What do they love about this prototype? What would they change? What's great? What's not great? And I think as you go, that's where you start to really figure it out and hone in on, okay, now I might be onto something.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about the prototype process. I don't think I've had a single person on this podcast talk about prototypes. I don't know how. I don't think I've had a single person. So I want to talk about what was the process like? How did you prototype it? Like, did you go overseas? Did you find someone in the US? As much detail or as little as you want to share, but I just want to hear how you did it. Did you have drawings mapped out on a paper? Let's dive into it. Yeah.
Okay. So I first had my sister-in-law at the time, she's a graphic designer. And I said, I have this idea. I need you to draw it. And she got a sticky piece of paper and a little sticky Post-it and drew it in 5 minutes. And I was like, well, that's not really what I was looking for, but because people, they just don't take you seriously. They just don't I swear. They just think you're full of it, and then 3 years later you have the patent and the trademark and you're thinking, I told you I was serious.
Amazing. Yeah.
Come on. So she drew it, and I can't remember who I was talking to. I was talking to somebody that was going to sew it. I was going to have somebody sew it from that. And she said to me, you need to make a prototype. You need to get some cardboard. I need to see it in 3D. I need to see it. And so I thought, okay, I'll just go to Rite Aid and I'll just get some poster board. And that's exactly what I did. I spent a Saturday on my floor with my ruler and my pen and my scissors. And I laid out my compacts and I thought, okay, this is, what do I want to fit in it? How much do I want to fit in it? And you kind of allow yourself, the fun process is allowing yourself to dream a little bit. If I can create something, what am I going to create? It doesn't have to be perfect, but you kind of I wanted to make it to scale somewhat because I wanted to make sure everything would fit. So that's what I did. I just created it out of paper and I made the files and I did the little rings with paper and I did it and I created it. And that's where it started with the actual, the 3D version of it. What does this kind of look like? Right. So that's kind of where it started. And then that's where I started too with the patent process. I turned that in and to a patent attorney while I was working on the side to try to make a prototype. And the first person, I just started Googling how to make a prototype. And I found a place about an hour away. I live in Southern California, found a place about an hour away that worked with a manufacturing company in India.
Okay.
They were the first ones where I was able to, I drove down, took my cardboard with me, and he had a video, and it was, I think it was like $125. And he said, I'll make you a prototype for, 125. I'll send it to my company.
Wow.
And he took a video with his iPhone, and he said, explain it to me. And I laid out my product, and I was like, this is what it looks like, and this is what it does, and here it is. And I did it, and he sent it in. He sent the video in, and every day I'd be in court, and they'd be sending me emails. What kind of fabric? This kind of fabric, or this kind of fabric, or this kind of plastic, or this kind of plastic, and this
Wow.
a zipper here. And that's exactly how I started. And it took me about 2 months to get the first prototype back. And
Okay.
I drove down there, and I wanted to cry. It was like, this is not it.
Oh
This is
no.
not it. But
No.
what it was the first step. It was
Mhm.
the first step. And that's all you need, is like that first step. Like somebody's going to work with you. Somebody's going to help you,
Yeah.
and just give you that shot. So whatever happened, it didn't matter. I got that first prototype, and it wasn't on paper. It was fabric. It was actual buttons that snapped, and I could see it kind of start to come to life. And that's when it began, was right there. Because once you have that first one, you
Mhm.
can go from there. You can change from there. People can actually see what you're talking about now. You're not dealing with paper anymore, or just a drawing. It's something tangible. And now you can go from there. So that's where I started.
Oh my gosh.
And
I love it.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, it was just there. And then I knew that wasn't going to be quite the fit. And I did want to manufacture in the States. I was hoping to do that. I figured that would be easier for me to be more hands-on with my product.
Mhm.
But I just had a really, really hard time. So I tried in the States, and I just couldn't. I would call somebody up, like a company, and I would call up, and they would, I don't know what you mean. I don't know what, they just really could not, they just would not work with me. I think the whole prototyping situation, they weren't
Mhm.
into that. They weren't into that. It was like, well, we make this, this is what we do. And I tried to work with certain companies that were making like even backpacks or purses, or because
Mhm.
that's what you want to do. You want to find a company that is kind of, if you're going to do something completely different, you want to find a company that's kind of doing a little bit of the same idea. So they're working with fabric, they're working with zippers, they're working with buttons, they're
Mhm.
working with some of those same ideas. So that led me to go overseas, and that's where Beauty Binder is made, is overseas. And I found an app called Alibaba, and
Mhm.
that was the app. And I mean, I would message one, and a response right then. They
Yeah.
respond right there, and how can we help you? What can we do? You know, and
Mhm.
that's where I started. I got my second one and got closer, and then got my third one and got closer, and um, changed manufacturers at that point to another company overseas. At that time as well too, I had found somebody that was a purse designer who had designed for Nautica
Oh.
and different
Wow.
brands like that. And she lived in New York, and she and I worked together to kind of create some of the little details on Beauty Binder that I wanted to be special, like the logo lining, and the little logo on every zipper.
Okay.
On every zipper pull is the logo, and just some of those details that I wanted to be special, that I wanted to stand out. And she helped me to bring some of those ideas to life. And from there, it just kind of went, and we just went all the way to the seventh prototype, and I finally placed an order. and thought, let's do it. Let's see how it goes. So we did.
Wow. And
Yeah.
I feel like I have a few questions.
Yeah. I know it's a
No, this
long
is so
process.
good. Like I said,
Long
I've never had
process.
anyone really talk about prototyping, I don't think. So I'm just curious because I
Yeah,
think every product is different in terms of how many variations you go through,
totally. Yeah.
the different suppliers. I know for me, I worked with a few different manufacturers overseas. I also use Alibaba and I had a fantastic experience. I also had a terrible experience using Alibaba to manufacture or print boxes. So that was like a nightmare. But the actual dog bandanas, I had a fantastic, flawless for the most part experience. So that's good.
Yeah.
But you hear like the most variety of stories of working with people on Alibaba. Like
You do.
it totally depends on the supplier and like, yeah.
It
So
does.
when it comes to the prototyping, so you found someone in the US, they did the first one for you for 125.
Mm-hmm.
It was not what you were looking for, but it was like a start. So I also really appreciate your like thought process on that. Cause I think for a lot of people, they may have just given up at that point. Like, oh my God, this person did not see my vision after 2 months. I'm just gonna, I can't do this anymore. I'm gonna quit. Like a lot of people would have quit, but you were like, oh, whatever. It's, I might be upset today, but tomorrow it's a new day and I'm just gonna keep moving forward. So I love that so much about you. I have to just say that. Why did you go to a different, like what made you choose to then go to overseas? Was it just that you wanted lower price points, or you just had heard, okay, I feel like Alibaba, there's more opportunity for me?
I just couldn't find anybody in the US that would work with me. I
Okay,
mean,
gotcha.
because I was still really prototyping it. I mean, I did 6 more prototypes before the final one that I ended up ordering in bulk, right? So
Mhm.
I would call and I'd ask because I did want to do it here. I really, really
Yeah,
did, because like I said, I wanted to be able to fly there or wherever they were going to be. And I wanted to have hands-on
yeah,
experience. It was a scary process for me to do it and invest in something that when you're manufacturing overseas, yeah, you're getting a sample back, and I would get a sample every single time. I would always
Mhm.
get the sample, touch it, use it, get feedback on it. But it's so you place an order like that with that
Mhm.
kind of investment,
Yeah,
and you don't know, you just hope it's there. I mean, there is a relationship that is created, I think. I mean,
Mhm.
I was
Yep.
talking to my point person, Taylor, for months before I
Mhm.
actually placed the order. I mean, I'd come home from work and that's when my second job would start,
Mhm.
because that's when they're getting up and getting going from, overseas. So all night I would be working with her. Um, so I feel like we had a relationship and I felt like I could trust her, but how do, I just, it's kind of a scary thing. So I did it because I went overseas, to answer your question, because I felt kind of like I had to. And I
Mhm.
have to say too, the price the price of the beauty binder is a higher end product.
Mhm.
And if I would have done it here, if I had even found somebody to do it, I can't even tell you what it would have cost. I mean,
A lot.
a really lot.
Yeah,
It just would have been crazy. I don't think that I could have sold it. I don't think I could have sold it.
yeah.
I'm not sure I could have for that price point. I don't know. I don't know, but I just felt like that's, I felt like I had to. I kind of had to
Yeah.
do that. Yeah.
No, that makes sense. And sometimes like when you're creating a product, there isn't like you're not always going to find stuff here. So I think,
Yeah.
you did what you had to do. I'm also just curious with the prototyping process, you mentioned that I think you mentioned you went once you moved to Alibaba, you kind of found a few different suppliers, I believe, that did different prototypes for
Mhm.
you. What made you want to like switch those in the middle of it? Was it like that they weren't getting your vision, or you just like bad communication?
I thought the quality wasn't as good on that first
Gotcha.
set of samples. Like
Okay.
I felt like some of the stitching was like off, like kind of like all over the place. And I
Okay.
wanted like those details, like right there.
Mhm.
That was so important to me with this product. I remember when I started to create it, it
Mhm.
was like, well, how do I want to feel? How do I want this person to feel when she gets it?
Mhm.
Like she's going to invest in this, and I wanted her to feel special. And like, I thought of every detail because I did. I chose every detail of the fabric, of the stitching, of the kind of stitch, of the plastic, of the zipper, of the measurements, the fabric, everything. And
Mhm.
that I wanted that conveyed in what I was creating. And I felt like I wasn't quite getting the quality I wanted. And so I switched and went to somebody else. And it ended up, when I got it, I knew it right then. It's like, this is it. This is it. I mean,
I loved it.
we did a couple, but I could tell the
Mhm.
quality was going to be there. It was going to get the quality I thought my customer deserved and what I was looking for
Okay.
in the product. Yeah.
And how did you find just all those different suppliers? I know it's sometimes it literally just is like sifting through like hundreds of Alibaba suppliers. Cause I know I've had some ideas on a product that I'm thinking of making. It's like in the back of my head
Hmm.
constantly. And I've
Hmm.
already gone through suppliers and, looked at the reviews and looked at like, all the things. But like sometimes you just literally don't know, like, okay, which, especially because you didn't have like, okay, I'll just say what it is. So I'm thinking of, like manufacturing. I don't know if I'm going to do it, but I've had this
Hmm.
idea for a year now and it will not
Hmm.
escape my mind. Like it's sitting there every single
It's
day.
happened to me.
So
Yes.
it is,
I know
they're
the feeling.
waterproof phone pouches for like kayaking or paddleboarding. This product already exists. I mean,
Hmm.
there's shitty ones, there's good ones. This is an already existing product. So for me, if I'm like, okay, I'm going to manufacture or white label, whatever,
Hmm.
waterproof foam pouches, I'm going to put my branding on it. I'm going to, switch the colors around that they're offering. It's easier for me to find a supplier because the product already exists, unless I want to
Hmm.
make a complete unique one. But for you, it's a little bit different because you may not like the product that you have in mind. It doesn't exactly exist already. Yes, there's makeup bags and backpacks and all that, but like you're kind of creating something brand new. So for you, like, how did you know how did you, okay, I'm going to message this person here. Like, were you messaging like hundreds of people or like what was your process like to find those people?
I was narrowing my focus a little bit more. So once I found Alibaba
Mhm.
and I started to look, I started to first look, I looked at reviews. I looked at their stars, like how many stars they have on Alibaba.
Mhm.
I looked to see how long they were in business. How long had they been
Okay.
around? Had they been around? Like I tried to go like over 5 years, somebody that had a little bit more, time. So I didn't think they were going to disappear on me, right? Mid process here.
Okay.
Um, and then I started to try to find, okay, who's working with the fabric I want to use. So I wanted to use vegan
Mhm.
leather. So okay,
Oh,
so
okay.
who's using that? Who uses that with plastic? Who does zippers? I want zippers. Who uses those materials? Those because then they are going to have access to different zippers. They're going to have access to different, colors of fabric that's like the vegan leather, right? So I
Mhm.
started to do that, and then it was like, okay, well, backpacks, purses, briefcases.
Oh, okay.
I went
Love
to
it.
briefcases. The company that manufactured Beauty Binder does not manufacture makeup cases at all,
Mhm.
because that's this is not your typical makeup case. It
Yeah.
just isn't. So I started to think, okay, what what's got the shape? So look at like the fabrics that you want to use, the hardware you want to use, things
Mhm.
like that. And then details. Do they detail things? Can they do things like that? Because I'll tell you, when you're reaching out to somebody, you're not going to want to source everything, right? You're not going to want to source all the fabric. That's where the cost comes in. You want them to kind of have those things
Yeah.
there, right? So
Hmm.
you can get them cheaper, right? Because they already have them in bulk. They created the Beauty Binder logo fabric. They created that for me. But every time they're going to create something for you, that's going to cost you so much more money. So if they have access to zippers and things like that you want to use, and the plastic that you want to use, and the vegan leather that you want to use, then they're already sourced. So you're saving so much more money. So those were some of the things I was looking at. And then once I found those things, then I
Hmm.
messaged. Then I would message. Do they communicate? Do they message me back? And normally, for the most part, I found people that were eager to work with me. They wanted to work with me. They were willing to do it. Let me see what you have. Let me send me a video. I'll see what it is. And
Love that.
they wanted to. So they wanted to create it. So it did not take me hundreds, not at all. I just kind of narrowed it down when I found those kind of specific things I was looking for. That's when I was
Hmm.
able to narrow it down. Then I would message, and it was like, okay, are they going to respond to me? And can I communicate with them? Do we communicate well?
Yeah.
You know, and will they work with me on my timelines? And that was things like that. You learn as you go, just little by
Mhm.
little. So yeah.
That's so amazing. Um, yeah, it sounds like I said, like you just hear so many horror stories of working with
Mhm.
suppliers. And so I'm glad that you figured out like a process to not waste your time, like messaging a million
Mhm.
people and
Mm-mm.
just, yeah. So I love your strategy. I love that you're like, all right, how many years have they been in business?
Mhm.
What materials do they have? That's super, super smart. So love
Mhm.
that. Can
Yeah.
you also talk through, I'm just curious the timeline here. So when you decided to start with Alibaba until you got your final product like ordered and then delivered to you, what was that timeline? I'm just curious.
That was like probably a year and a half.
Oh, wow.
It was about
Okay.
a year and a half. Yeah. I have to say, in the middle of all of that, my aunt passed away. And I was on I think my second or third prototype. My aunt passed away, and it was very unexpected. And she was raising my cousin's two kids at the time, who were, I want to say at the time, 11 and 13.
Hmm.
And 2 months before she died, we were talking, and she was redoing her will because her husband at the time had been diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. And so
My
they were
God.
redoing their will. And she said, if anything ever happens to me, will you take the kids? And I have two kids of my own. And of course, I said absolutely. But I remember in that moment thinking, please do not let anything happen to this woman. I cannot have 4 children.
Yeah.
And she passed away 2 months later. And
Jesus.
the kids came to be with me 9 months later. And so I went from
Wow.
single mom of two to a single mom of four, and in the middle of Beauty Binder. And I had to decide at that moment, like, um, is this a sign that I'm done? This isn't, this wasn't meant to be?
Yeah.
And I ended up deciding to continue on because I knew that I needed something, I think, for my own sanity, just something for myself to just
Hmm.
focus on, I think, with everything else going on. So I think maybe that was cost me a few months, but probably from the beginning, I'd say a year and a half.
Hmm.
Just doing the samples back and forth. Another thing was too is I just at that point too, my kids had been watching me, and it was like, I cannot quit until this is
Hmm.
complete.
Yeah.
At that point, once I get the right prototype, if I decide, I have a full-time job and 4 kids, then I can go. Maybe this will be complete for me, but it wasn't at that moment. I didn't have the prototype I was looking for. So when I finished that, then I was too far in. It was like, we're going, we're going. But
Aw.
but yeah, and they're watching me do it, and I think it's so so cool, and
Mhm.
quitting just wasn't an option. So it was a process, but um, I guess if that's all I was doing, if I was doing that full time, it would have been faster, and it could have been faster if things, life didn't step in, but it did. It was a process. It was an absolute process. Yeah.
But sounds like you have just been absolutely killing it. So I love
We're
hearing
we're
all
gonna keep
the,
going.
yeah. And I think it's just like such a good mindset to have of like, my kids are watching me, and
Yeah.
like leading by example and showing them that, you can do all these really hard things is absolutely incredible. So I just love that so much. What a good
Thank
story.
you. I think it's
Sorry
just
about
so,
your
I
arm
think it's so
too.
important. Thank you. I thank you. And it was devastating, but I just think, I don't know. I think it's okay to take a break and breathe. I think
Mm.
that's okay. I think it's good. I think sometimes you need that, but I didn't want to quit. I just wanted to see it through. It was really important to me to see it through. And so it maybe took a little bit longer because of that. Um, and that was okay. But yeah, that's what I would tell myself. Your kids are watching you, and you told them you were going to do this. You told them you were going to
Mhm.
finish this prototype. And so quitting was just not in the cards. So it was a process, but we got there. We got there.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. And then, okay, so you prototyped, you got your products, you ordered them. What was your first order volume? I'm just curious, or like order quantity. Were you like
they
small or did you go, yeah, let's hear about that.
oh man, that was like that's that's what's hard. And it's funny because I've learned since then they probably would have negotiated with me more.
Mhm.
But that's the thing is you learn as you go, right? You don't know till you do it, until you get out there and you try it, right? So we learn all this stuff, but
Mhm.
so I begged them to let me have 100. Like, please just let me buy 100. And they would not. It was 500 was the minimum order. And
500.
so
Okay.
500 is what I purchased. 500 is what I purchased. So, and I'm doing well selling, but it's I'm still going, and I'm
Mhm.
not going to give up. I'm just going to keep going, and I'm getting the word out there, and I've done well. I've done well, and there's interest, and people are excited about it, and it's been great. And the kids, I mean, when I first got that shipment, my kids helped me, load them all in, and
Oh,
when we send Amazon orders out, we all do like an assembly line and line them all up together and do it.
oh,
But
that's so cute.
yeah, but I had to do 500. Now, like I said, going at it again because there's things I already would tweak on it, right? Just because I've gotten the feedback from the sales I've gotten.
Mhm.
So I mean, it wouldn't be a ton of tweaks or anything huge, but I tweak it now, So I wish I could have gotten 100, but it wasn't in the cards, and so that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know because your product isn't, I don't know what you're paying for it, and you obviously don't have to share,
Mhm.
but I know your
Mhm.
product is not, it's not cheap. It's not like
No.
this is not a $10 product. So to
Mm-mm.
have to buy 500, that is, I'm sure was a very scary as fuck purchase. And like,
It's
yes,
terrifying. And I don't
yes.
have like, I mean, I have a job, I have a good job, but
Hmm.
I did not have that money in the bank. I
Hmm.
borrowed money. I invested in myself, and I did it, and I invested in what I believed in. And I'm just glad I did. I really am. I don't think that that's right for everybody. And some people, even some of my own family members think I'm crazy, but as much as they like think I'm crazy, they're also kind of like, wow, that's really kind of cool. Like you can't
Hmm.
help but that's a really cool thing, that you did. So,
Yeah.
and I feel like whatever happens, happens.
Mhm.
I did it. I wanted to do it, and I did it. And something was leading me, like how you say you keep thinking about the product in your head. That's how this was. I
Mhm.
could not get it out of my head. I
Mhm.
had to bring it to life. So that's what I did. So I'm glad I did.
How long were you thinking about it before you took the first action?
3 days, 4 days. I mean, it was like that. It was quick, but I mean, it was super, super quick that I started to draw it and make the paper and start to do it. And then it took me a minute to like actually try to find like, okay, I was trying to find a sewer, just like somebody to just sew it for me. So I have something. And I couldn't find anybody that would do it. It's pretty complicated, nobody would do it. And so then I thought, well, I've got to find a manufacturer. That was the first one I found, but that was like probably 3 months. That took a little bit longer just to do that.
Okay.
So that took time.
So awesome.
I jumped on it quick.
And I totally agree with you. Like sometimes you have ideas, and that's how I base my decisions on. Like I have a couple of business ideas right now. One is like in the tech SaaS space, and then two actually are physical products. One is what I already mentioned, and then one is a food and beverage, which if you listen to the podcast, you'll already know what I'm talking about. And I cannot get that out of my head, but that's like my idea that, I don't know, like I have a lot of thoughts. We don't have to talk about that in this podcast episode, but like that idea and I have two product ideas for the paddle boarding and kayaking space. And those I also can't get out of my head. And they've been sitting in the back of my head bugging me for a year now. And I'm kind of like, okay, well, maybe I should take action. So I have to constantly filter through like which one is the priority, which one has the most potential. Because I'm not going to start I'm not going to start a business now unless this is a sellable thing.
Right.
But two, like at the same token, I also am not going to start a business unless it's potentially a really big thing I could grow it into, like really think big here. So it's hard to know which one is going to do that. Like you kind of sometimes don't know, but yeah, I don't know.
You don't know. That's the hard part is you don't know. But I also think too, like it's okay to like reach out and get a couple samples and see it's not that,
yeah,
just to get a couple samples, see what the quality is and just kind of see if you're, how you're feeling about it. If you're like, oh, okay, maybe, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
kind of feel it out. I'm saying go for it. Try it, just see what you can, if you can get some samples made and it's not so bad, just to see kind of what comes of it.
I know I spent I think it was like 2 months ago. I think I spent an entire Sunday. No, it was the Easter weekend.
Oh,
so I think I spent the entire Saturday before Easter just scouring through Alibaba, looking up waterproof phone pouch holders for your phone. So when you go paddleboarding, I already have the whole vision. Like I can see the whole thing. Like I can see it. I can see the website. I already know all the beautiful lifestyle photos I would do. I can see the whole thing unraveling. It's just more for me, like, do I have the time and mental capacity to start another thing? And if I do, like, who's going to be doing this for me? I need someone to do a lot of the work for me. I can't, like, I already have my current business.
Yeah.
And I'm already struggling with, okay, I need to work less. Need to
I know.
be a better parent and all that and spend more time dog walking and all that. But it's, if you have an idea for a business, I think especially once you start one, it's sort of, for me, at least, it's very addicting. Like I keep wanting another and another, but for me, I get ideas, I write them down, and then I know quite quickly, do I still like that idea? Because they come into my head, but they leave quickly. And I'm like, nope, that one's not, no, I don't want that one. Or is it like, this is a good idea, but not for now. Let's save this. Right. Let's put this in like the later bucket or something. But, it can be hard because then once you do it, you know what to do.
Yeah. You know how to,
you know what to do. And that's the hard part, is because you had to figure it out the first time. Like all the shit we go through with starting our businesses, like who does the website? What platform is it on? How many products should I buy? Like, where do I find a manufacturer? Like, there's so many things you go through, but then once you do it, you're like, all right, well, I can do this again. This should be easy now.
And a lot faster. It shouldn't take nearly 3 years, to get this
much
going.
faster.
So much faster.
I love it so much.
It's fun.
I love it. Would you, I want to ask you one more question. I know we're like running out of time. Can you just update us on, because I know that you mentioned that you had a patent and trademark.
I
Can you
do.
just give us like a quick summary of how did you do all that? And like, where does that stand right now? Like, what's the status?
So I sent, when I first started, that little drawing my sister-in-law made for me, right? That
Mhm.
sad little drawing. I I took a picture of it and sent it to a trademark attorney or a patent attorney. And I said, I need to patent this. And she goes, well, let's have a phone appointment. So I called her and we talked, and she said, you are not ready for a patent. You are not ready. Call me back when you have, something tangible. And so I did. I called her back about a year later, and I had an actual it was, I think, my second or third prototype. And I said, here it is. And she was shocked. She said, I never thought I would hear from you again. I cannot believe you actually did it. And when I called her the first time, she said, why are you doing this? You're a court reporter. You have a good job. Why are you doing this? And I said,
What kind of
I
question is that? Oh my God.
that's what she said. And I said,
I don't love
I
that question.
I just feel like I need to. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Why do you do that? I don't know. I just feel like I need to do this, and I need some inspiration in my life. I need to switch it up a little bit
Yeah.
here. So this is where I feel like I'm led. So here we go. I'm going to do it. And so she is the one that started the process, and I
Mhm.
started and I got a design patent. It took about a year and a half. That was another process, and
Wow.
that was a little bit of an investment. But I'll tell you why I did
Mhm.
it. I did the patent and I did the trademark.
Mhm.
Um, I trademarked Beauty Binder. And the reason I did it this way, and the reason I wanted to do everything a specific way, was because I wasn't convinced I wouldn't license the idea at some point or sell the idea at some point to like an Ulta or a Sephora.
Mm.
So that's why I wanted to do it that way. So
Wow.
um and I'm still not convinced I wouldn't do that. Um I didn't know where it was going to take me, and I wanted to make sure that everything I had was like good and legit and trademarked, licensed, all of that stuff, and and patented. And for if I decided to sell it or wherever I was going to go with the business, I didn't know what I would do with it. And so right now I'm growing it and I'm seeing what I can do with it, but
Mhm.
I don't know where it'll go. And I just wanted all my ducks in a row if I decided to do something else with it. So, and then trademarking it, I did it myself on LegalZoom.
Oh, okay.
I trademarked it myself and did
Did you
they
trademark the name or the design of the product or both?
I I trademarked the name, but
Mhm.
the design is like kind of the next thing, because I have a logo and that I love, and it's part of the logo lining. And so that's kind of next,
Okay.
is to do that. So that's why I did it. I mean, some people have told me that have products that, there's no reason to get a patent. And so I've heard different things. I hold
Mhm.
two design patents for Beauty Binder, because
Oh,
I started to patent it, and then I changed some of it as my iterations changed. And so I have both of the patents. I just got my second patent. So I have both of
wow.
them. Um, and that is the only reason I did it. It was for no other reason. I mean, it's cool to say, oh, I hold a patent, whatever, but
Yeah.
I did it for that reason, because I just wasn't sure where it was going to go. And I wanted to have it good, legit. And I have an LLC, which I think
Mhm.
you're supposed to get when you start. So I did all of that stuff just because I didn't know where the whole thing was going to take me.
That's super smart. We had someone on the podcast a few months ago who is a trademark lawyer. And I don't know what episode it is. I'll reference it in the show notes, but
Mhm.
it was really, really cool because we talked a lot about mistakes that people make when it comes to trademarking, but the biggest mistake is not trademarking.
Mhm.
And I didn't trademark anything with my business. And when I went to sell my business, we ran into a bit of an issue at the end when it came to, I don't know if it was a logo or something. There was something, I forget what it was. I think I blocked it out of my memory because it was very stressful. I was like, did I
Oh,
just fuck myself so
oh,
badly that I didn't trademark this and now I'm not going to be able to sell my business? It was not a good, that was not a
so
good day
scary.
for me,
Yeah.
but it ended up being fine. There was no issue and I did sell my business. So,
Yeah, that was the Dapper Dog Box, right?
yeah.
That's when, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But I love that conversation with the trademark lawyer because I talked about that story of like, I almost didn't sell my business because of a trademarking issue. And I'm like, in hindsight, that sounds so stupid. Like it's something that you can prevent from happening
Mm-hmm.
when you take your business seriously and treat it like a
Mm-hmm.
business and trademark it. So and like, if I ever do another product, I will 100% trademark it. I've learned my lesson, but I'm
Totally.
so glad that you did all those things and like set your business up so professionally. I'm just curious, what do you see for the future? I know that you said you're selling on Amazon. Where, like, if you could have, okay, any situation happen, like, what would that look like for you?
My dream and what I've always wanted for Beauty Binder was just honestly was just like a store where you could, and this would be beyond like when I'm not running a retail store, because I have no desire to have a brick and mortar, where I have to, because I'm already tied to a 9 to 5 job. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want
Mm,
that, but where women can go and pick out an amazing beauty binder, different styles and different fabrics and different, prints, and then pick out their files for what they need and what they love and how they want to organize their makeup,
mm,
and different kind of storage. Because to me, I just feel like there's nothing out there that makes sense for women that really want to organize their makeup.
mm,
For me, I just don't think there is. And so I would love to see something like that where it's specialized, where I can create lots of different products
mhm,
for women to organize their makeup. I mean, you think about how much we spend on our makeup. I mean, even if you're
mhm,
buying your makeup at Target, you don't even have to go to buy higher end makeup like, the
mhm.
Sephora's and Ulta's, and you just go to Target and buy your makeup. It's not cheap. You're
Yeah.
spending a lot. I mean, I have 2 teenage girls, so we'll go to like CVS, our little Walgreens
God.
or whatever,
Mhm.
and they want a lip gloss and it's 20 bucks. And I'm just
What?
thinking, we're just,
Jesus.
yeah, we're just, you know, there's so much money in our makeup. And I just think, let's store it, make it cute, and be able to find it and not have it break. And
Mhm.
so that's like my ultimate dream, is to have, like, I just picture it in New York. I mean, if I'm just dreaming, and I
Aw.
just that's been my dream forever. And then ultimately I would love to give back to women and children affected by addiction. That's always been the biggest thing for
Mm,
me, was being able to make a difference in the lives of women and children. I mean, that's why I have my 2 bonus kids.
mhm,
And that's a close, cause to my heart, and for
mhm,
lots of reasons. And so ultimately that's what it would be, just somewhere, that we could, you know, put our makeup together, and find a cool way to do it, and fun way and inspiring way, and then help people in the process, is the biggest goal.
aw. I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love your like thinking big.
Yeah. Oh, I can dream really big. That's the fun part. That's
I
the
think it
fun
would
part.
also be really cool if you had like travel size. I know your thing is like the big binder, but I feel like it kind of would be cool if you had like
I
like
would
beauty binder minis, and they're like the little beauty binder that you can put your toiletries and all your, things when you travel. So your
I
stuff
would
is
love
still
to.
organized. That's a cute idea. I like it.
I think it's a great idea. And that would be the next thing that I would create,
Hmm.
is exactly that, because that is the big piece of feedback I've gotten. So
Really?
I
Okay.
yes, to have it smaller, to have it in a smaller size. So
Right.
my big makeup people, are like, they love the big size, but that has been, that would be the next thing I would create, is something smaller for everybody else.
That's a good idea. And
Different sizes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, a lot of people might love your product, but they're like, well, I
Yeah.
don't have a million products, but like I care about the stuff that I have. I would love a
Right.
smaller version. So I love that.
Yes. Yes. That would be the next thing I would create. So,
Yeah.
and I've got a little, design made. So we'll just see where it all goes, but
Would you go with the same manufacturer or would you do a different one?
I probably would use the same one. I
Yeah.
probably would use the same one because I like the quality they've given me. But I also would find another one in case some reason that one doesn't happen. I think I should have two. I feel like it's not okay to just have one. I need two.
Yeah.
Just in case I need it and something happens with this one. So
That's amazing.
yeah. So I think I would do that.
So much good stuff. Yeah, so much goodness. I feel like you're making my brain spin a little bit with some ideas. So thanks a lot.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. You always make my brain spin with great ideas.
Oh, good. Tell everyone how they can find you, where they can buy your product, and remind people of the website and like your socials and things like that.
So I am on Facebook at Beauty Binder. I am on Instagram, Beauty Binder Organizer. My website is beautybinder.com. I'm also Stormy Hinkle on Instagram there too, personally. And we're on Amazon, Etsy, and then my website. So
Awesome.
So reach out and say hi. Tell me you listened. I'd be so excited.
Yay. And everyone buy a damn binder. Okay. They're beautiful
Buy
and
a
amazing.
damn binder. Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Well, thank you so much for being on. It was so much fun to have you on and just chat all about your process and the patents and, prototyping. It's so interesting. So thank you for sharing so much information. And yeah, it was so good to see you as always.
Thank you for having me, Carrie. I'm seriously honored to be on your podcast. Really, I am. Thank you.
Aw, thank you.